Hi guys, so it is Monday and I have literally done nothing all day. I watched some YouTube videos, I slept in, I made breakfast. That's pretty much it. So it's about 5 or 5:30 now, I think, and the most successful thing I've done all day is take a palm frond out of the pool. In my defense, I'm on vacation. Also, I was gonna go out about 1 or 2 o'clock, and then a really big storm front came through and it was pouring down rain, and I always forget that Florida is like tropical. It's been like cloudy and overcast, and there's a little bit of blue sky over there. That's kind of all the blue sky I've seen the whole time I've been here. So I have all these beach plants and stuff, but then it rains in the middle of the day. So I slept in, waited out the rain. I haven't even read anything. Like, that's how unproductive I've been all day. It's great. So I am gonna go out now. I might drive over to the beach for like 4 seconds. I'll bring a book with me and do some reading. The things that I have been reading. So yesterday I read about 140 pages of Beyond a Darkened Shore, and then I also read 6 or 7 chapters of City of Brass. Both very good, enjoying them. I think I'm gonna bring The Adventures of Cavalier and Clay with me to dinner because I'm feeling like reading it. I don't know. I told you guys I have book ADD, so we'll see what happens. I feel like I say we'll see what happens a lot. So some people have to wait for trains. We have to wait for drawbridges because boats. I don't know why I'm so amused, but I am, and this is also taking a really long time, so I figured I'd film because I'm bored. Yay! Look, it's moving! I'm 5. I know. Shh, it's okay. It's no big deal. Alright guys, so I'm at the beach. I'm so excited. It's wonderful. So it's Wednesday now. I have been doing some reading, although not maybe as much as I imagined. So I thought I would show you which of the books that I'm reading right now really quickly and just give like brief first impressions. So if you want the like brief synopsis for the books, that's in my scavenger hunt video, so I won't like rehash everything here. You'll get a little bit of the plot when I do as I finish each book. I'll link the scavenger hunt video up there. Okay, so the first book is Circe by Madeline Miller. I wanted to make sure that I actually wanted to buy this book when I was at the bookstore, so I sat down and I was going to read the first chapter, except I read the first 6 chapters. And that's kind of like what this book is right now. It's just so compelling. Nothing like dramatic stuff happens. Like, it's not like a thriller where you're just like so into it, but it's just really compellingly readable. So last night I sat down to finish one more chapter, and then I finished a lot more than one more chapter. I haven't heard a lot of booktubers talk about it, and maybe I'm just looking at the wrong booktube accounts. It's really good. I highly recommend reading it if you're at all interested in Greek mythology. I'm also a little bit into City of Brass, 144 pages. Also really enjoying this one. It's a very well developed fantasy world with very interesting characters. I have to say that at the moment I'm more interested in Nari's. No, I'm less interested in Nari's story. So Nari is technically the main character, but there's a second plot featuring a guy named Ali, who's the prince, one of the princes of the City of Brass, and it's like political intrigue and moral questions, and like I feel like at the moment that story is more complex and more compelling to me than Nari, who's just kind of a little bit obnoxious. I've been nearly finished with Beyond a Darkened Shore. I'll probably finish this the next time I sit down to read it. This is like a fun YA. I think if I had picked it up 10 years ago, I would have just adored it so much. At the moment, it's a really good story. It's interesting, but it feels very superficial, and by that I mean that like, the world just doesn't have a lot of depth, and neither do the characters. Like, they all have compelling motivations and whatever, and the world is interesting, but there's not a lot of that, what Maggie Stiefvater calls salient noise, the, like, extra details that add this kind of richness and make the world seem really real. The last book that I'm reading is The Amazing Adventures of Cavalier and Clay. I'm also about 150 pages into this one. 165 pages. This is really good too. I expected something a little bit more like, I don't know, Philip Roth or something. But this is just a really lovely story. It's told kind of episodically, which I like. I'm reading it a little more slowly because of that, because I'll kind of like, when an episode ends, I'll stop. But man, some of them, like, I finished one section. It's about how Joe Cavalier escapes Prague, and man, that was a ride. And that was kind of my like my assessment. You know he does escape because we've already gotten a chapter introducing him in Brooklyn after his escape, but it's just like, whew. I am gonna go to the coffee shop now and do some work and some reading and stuff, and I will see you guys later. My hair is wet again. It's actually kind of a common thing because I don't blow dry it because it's, yeah, just, I don't blow dry it because that's too much work. So, today is Thursday. I kind of thought it was Wednesday for like till noon or something, but that's okay. We're good. Yesterday, I did some writing, which was great. It felt awesome. What else did I do? That was kind of all. I started watching The Alienist, and I watched 3 episodes instead of 1 like I was planning because it's actually a really compelling story. So I had like all of these exciting plans for like being exciting and entertaining this week, and I haven't done anything. In my defense, it's been raining a lot, so can't go to the beach when it's raining. Anyway, reading, I finished Beyond a Darkened Shore. My assessment of it from yesterday, or whenever I last talked about it, is still holds. I gave it 3 stars. I think it's like 3-star read, which for me means like I enjoyed it, but I felt like there were flaws in the writing or the plotting or the characterization or something like that that made it not like a 4-star read for me. The thing about Beyond a Darkened Shore, there's like a ton of stuff going on in here. I think it was too much. That's kind of my final assessment for this. There was just too much happening. They have like 10, I'm exaggerating now, but there's like 1, 2, 3, 4 conflicts. And any one of them would have been like, or any 2 of them even would have made a really great story. You could have deepened the plot and just like made all of that better. But like 4 is a lot for a book. Even, I mean, this is kind of a long book, but it's not part of a series. It's a standalone, which I actually did like. But I feel like 4 major conflicts in a book that's, you know, just barely 400 pages, a YA book that's just barely 400 pages. That's just, it's so much. And so everything just like happened really fast, and it was kind of like, whoa, it's over now. Okay, they won, great. And so there was no like real strong narrative tension. There wasn't a whole lot of build. It kind of was like a little bit of a, I did like the character arc that the main character Kiara had, and her exploration of her powers and discovery of who she really is was very interesting. That kept it from being like a 2-star read for me. The romance was like simultaneously cute and kind of corny. It was a little tropey, to be honest. It was cute, but it was kind of tropey. 3 stars. If it sounds good, pick it up. If you don't like, if you're not interested, maybe, you know, don't bother. Then I picked up Sleeping Giants because I, you know, can't read fewer than 4 books at one time, and I am about 50 pages in. I didn't realize it's told in like kind of case file format again. Like it's a series of interviews, at least as far as I've read. It looks like the whole thing is a series of interviews with several characters, which I wasn't expecting, because literally I read the back of the book and then I was like, sure, that sounds good. And I didn't even look inside. But I'm enjoying it so far. I'm not far enough in to really know exactly what's going on, except that a group of people have been commissioned by someone who's maybe not quite like government clearance, but not like super deep secret cover something. Anyway, they've been put together to find and collect the pieces of this giant that's made out of, like, it's clearly from aliens, and they're putting it together. And that pieces have been like scattered all over the world, and I just feel like maybe this is a stupid decision that they're making. That's kind of my assessment of what's happening. I don't even really have a really good reason for it yet. It's definitely like a really interesting science fiction. I like the ideas. It's very grounded in science, except just like maybe there's aliens. It's a trilogy, so obviously something dramatic is going to happen. I'm a little concerned actually because it's so short, that I'm gonna finish it and be like, it's like 319 pages. I'm gonna finish it and be like, oh no, I have to buy the next one, which I shouldn't do because I have to stop buying books. So anyway, noise in the background was Doggy on the phone. Yes, she's trying to get my attention, so I should go. My plans for this evening, I'm gonna go to Starbucks or something and do some more writing and a little bit of reading, and then maybe watch some of The Alienist and let the dog out. So, I love fried plantains. I get them at Whole Foods sometimes, and I've never actually made them myself, so we're attempting that now. I have no idea what I'm doing. I put them in a pan with a lot of butter, and I cut them on a diagonal because that's what they look like when they're at Whole Foods. And we're going to see what happens. I don't really know if I'm going to end up with anything but a mess, but it'll be entertaining at the very least. Okay, I turned them over, maybe a little late, but every plantain I've ever had has like these dark brown charred edges, and I actually kind of like them. It occurs to me that I probably shouldn't have fried them in butter, because butter has a low heat point and it's starting to burn, but I didn't really have anything else, so we're frying them in butter, and that'll be okay. They look kind of more golden-y brown than they did before, and I think they're cooking. I still don't know if they're going to taste good. Is there like some weird plantain cooking secret that I need to know? Because I didn't check, and I'm having regrets. But that's okay. Okay, I think they're done. At least I have poked a couple of them, and they're this like nice goldeny yellow color all the way through, as opposed to the like orange color. Also, the butter's burning. I did it! They're pretty good, actually. Or at least this one is. I don't know if all of them cooked the same. I feel successful. I cooked a thing without the internet. You should be proud of me. I know this has nothing to do with books, but you know what? Plantains are delicious. So, oh well. I'm at the beach again! Yes! This time I have a chair and a book and sunglasses because it's really bright out. It's supposed to storm later today, but so far it's kind of nice and sunny. And like there's a breeze, so it's not too hot. It's fabulous. Just enjoying the sound of the waves. My good book that I really actually should be reading. The sea turtle nest that's in front of me. I'll put some footage in that I took a minute ago of like the actual ocean and stuff, and you can see this like roped off area, sea turtle nest. Now I'm gonna go back to my book because the meter on my parking space is winding down quickly and I would rather read than talk to the camera. Hey guys, so it's been raining literally all day. Today I slept in and then I watched a delayed stream of the royal wedding and have done exactly nothing else. Now I'm going to go do some reading. I think I'm gonna bring Cersei with me. I'm in the middle of like 4 books, which I've talked about at some point during this week. And I still haven't finished anything new because I'm, rotating through the books. But now I'm gonna go out and get something to eat and also get some sunburn relief cream or something, kind of lotiony thing, because I painted myself white with sunscreen but still got burned, because that's how my life goes in the sunshine. Alright, hey guys, it's Monday. I kind of didn't really film this weekend. I just, I don't know, it was a weekend. I slept a lot. I didn't do very much, except I did some reading. So looking back on this week, I did way less reading than I kind of expected to. Part of that might have been because I had 4 books going at one time. As I suspected, I've started watching Netflix again. I haven't really been watching TV very much for since January, actually, just because I have been so busy and I've been doing a ton of reading, which is great. But I do enjoy the occasional Netflix. So I've watched some episodes of The Alienist. I have also watched some episodes of Dexter and also some episodes of Burn Notice, the first season, which I've seen a couple of times, but it's been a really long time and I don't actually remember anything. Basically, I picked up Dexter and Burn Notice because they're both set in Miami, and I am not in Miami, but I am in South Florida, and I wanted to watch a show where it's hot and sunny and there's a beach, because there might be beaches, but it's mostly damp and rainy here. As you can see from the lighting, it's the middle of the day. It's just super overcast. It's just been kind of like that all week, which is kind of nice. Not something that I get very much in Texas, where it's hot and sunny literally all the time. Anyway, I had an okay reading week. Like I said, not as good as I expected. So you already saw I finished Beyond a Darkened Shore in the middle of the week, so that was the first book that I actually completed. Last night, so yesterday I was like, oh my gosh, it's the end of the week. I really just need to actually finish some of these books. So I sat down and finished a couple of books. I had 100 or 150 pages left in each one of these. So the first one I finished was Cersei by Madeline Miller. This book was fantastic. I don't know why more people aren't talking about it. I loved it so much. 5 stars for sure. This is a book about Cersei, who is a figure from Greek mythology. She's most famous for being one of Odysseus's stops in the Odyssey. He and his men end up on the island that she rules, and she's a Titan witch, and she turns men into pigs, and so Odysseus outsmarts her, supposedly, and then he and his men stay there for a year and kind of recover. This cover is so shiny, and that's kind of all I knew. So Madeline Miller was a classics major, and boy has she put that to good use. This was just such a well-told story. First of all, it's told in first person from the perspective of Cersei, and it starts pretty much when she's born, and she talks about first her upbringing with her father Helios, who's a Titan, and her mother, who is a nymph. And she talks about her siblings. She's always kind of the outcast, and eventually she gets exiled to this island for reasons. And then it's kind of about her learning to stand on her own 2 feet and coming to terms with who she is, learning to accept herself. So it's a really contemporary book, even though it's about a mythological figure. If you like Greek mythology and you want something more grown up than the Percy Jackson books, I definitely recommend this. I really just recommend this generally for anyone. It's told, like, there's a lot of stuff that happens. She meets all kinds of interesting figures from Greek mythology. Daedalus, her sister is Pasiphae, who is the queen of Crete during the time of the Minotaur. But just really well-drawn characters, and the story's center, like I said earlier, is her encounter with Odysseus, which really profoundly changes her life. And there were some surprises at the end that I won't talk about because that would be spoilery, but just really beautifully complex characters. Miller is careful not to glorify, like overly glorify the characters. Like Odysseus, even in the Odyssey, is kind of ambiguous. He is a great hero, but not maybe a great man. And that kind of complexity comes through in this book. And I really, really loved the ending. It was beautiful. I wasn't sure if it was going to be like heartbreaking or uplifting or satisfying, but it was a really great ending. Then last night I also finished Sleeping Giants by Sylvain Neuvel. I'm not quite sure what rating I'm going to give this yet. It's something between 4 and 5 stars. I don't think it's a 5-star read for me, although I can't articulate why. So that's why I'm waiting to rate it, because I want to know. Like, I don't understand why it's not a 5-star read. It's not. Maybe 4.5. I'm not sure. Anyway, I also really enjoyed this. Technically, this is science fiction. You find it in the sci-fi fantasy shelves in the bookstore. But if you're not really into science fiction, this is a great book for you, because although the story is centered around a giant automaton that has been left by an alien race, there are no aliens. It takes place in Earth completely, and it's more of like a science research novel with a touch of political intrigue. It's also told in a very interesting format. It's mostly a series of interviews between the characters and an unnamed interviewer who also kind of becomes a character in the story. You don't really know anything about him, but you kind of have like gotten a sense of his personality at the very least. So you feel like you kind of know him maybe a little bit. I don't know. Anyway, series of interviews, some journals, a couple of reports. So basically, this girl falls through a hole in the earth when she is quite young and lands on a giant metal hand. And nobody knows where it's from, and some like research was done and then it was kind of shut down. And 17 years later, the research on the hand gets started up again, and this girl, Rose Franklin, who's now a PhD in science, I think she's a physicist, finds herself at the head of this project. Not because she was the one who found it, just kind of happens. And so she brings a team together. They realize that it's part of a body. They figure out how to find the rest of the body parts. Then that causes some international conflict, because like one of the pieces is in Russia and one of the pieces is in Turkey, and they kind of like stealth their way out. And just like stuff starts happening. Not like weird stuff. This is like a really contemporary sci-fi in its own way. Well-told story. I'm very impressed with Neuvel's ability to create these really interesting, complex characters through interviews. Pretty much the whole story is told, right? Like they're telling the interviewer stuff that happened, their thoughts. So it's a lot of telling, but it works somehow. And I've found myself getting very attached to all of the characters. Really interesting things happened, and then the epilogue literally made me gasp out loud. I'm like midnight reading. The dog was like, "What are you doing? What? Is something wrong?" Great twist, and I can't wait to read the next one. It's like kind of cliffhangery, but not really, which I appreciate. I like books in a series that like make me want to continue, but don't make me feel like I have to rush out and grab the next installment right away, or else I won't like be able to handle it. So definitely planning to continue with the trilogy. So that was my reading week. I finished 3 books. I am also still in the middle of City of Brass, and I have about 150 pages left in that, and I am working my way through The Amazing Adventures of Cavalier and Clay. This book is so long. So I'm pretty much halfway through at this point. Still really enjoying it. It's, like I think I said earlier, it's kind of an episodic book, so you can read a couple of chapters and then like set it down and then come back to it a little bit later. So I've been reading it in the times when I want to read something for a little while, but I don't want to like get sucked into a story and read for like 3 hours or anything. So I've been kind of like reading it off and on. I'm almost kind of treating it like it's a TV series. I really feel like if this ever got adapted, it would make a fantastic like short run TV series, because it already kind of reads like that anyway. So not really like concerned that this is taking me so long to read. It's not like a burden or anything. That's how I'm reading it. So that was my reading week, and I'm gonna finish the vlog here. I didn't do a lot this week. I think I said that already. But thank you for coming along, hearing my thoughts on all of my books, hanging out with me in the kitchen and at the beach. Hopefully next week's vlog will be slightly more interesting. I'm still not really comfortable like taking the camera out in public and like talking to it. Feels a little weird, but anyway, if you liked this video, please subscribe. You can follow me on the social media things. My handles are in the description box below. Thank you so much for watching these long videos, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!